Good morning, everyone. Go and grab a coffee, because this could take a while. All right, welcome back to this video. On this one, we're going to talk deep water. This is the time of the year where, well, pike are starting to move and follow bait fish. Bait fish is starting to regroup, start to get into the deeper parts of the lake, which at the moment it's still fairly mild, so it hasn't really happened. But let's suppose that we're in winter, weather is getting cold, roach, bream, perch, all the bait fish starting to get together, starting to go down a little bit, down deeper in the lake, find that thermocline that's suited for them. Pike are following, of course, they're following the food. Now, how to fish this? Years ago, when I started pike fishing, it was like a strong belief between pike anglers that once the winter comes, you forget about the lures. It was all dead baits. I suppose at the time it was kind of true, because the lure techniques were not developed like now. We didn't have the choice of lures, and especially the soft plastics and all that we have now. So that has changed an awful lot over the years. But people still believe that once it gets cold, you have to switch to dead bait to get fish and to get big fish, and it's not necessarily true. In fact, I completely given up on any kind of dead bait myself. Even a few years, I started declining in my use of dead bait. I completely stopped dead baiting from the bank. I find that absolutely boring. Fair play to the guys who stick to the cold weather and sitting in a BV. That's definitely not up for me. But each to their own, But yeah, I stopped bank fishing and dead baiting years ago, and then when I started lure fishing constantly, I still had what I would call a lucky rod at the back of the boat, just afloat with a mackerel or a roach, or you get the picture. Usually you bring the fish sometime up with the lure they're interested. They don't want to take the lure. They kind of go down under the boat, and behold, there's a nice juicy mackerel floating there. So usually that's a bonus fish. It has brought me many fish like that, many fish over the years. But now I don't even bother that. I don't even bother keeping frozen bait for me in the winter and thinking of stinky fingers. And I don't do that anymore. But that's personal choice. So I'm gonna talk to you about what techniques of lure fishing in deeper water and what works for me. I'm not telling you go and do that. It's just over the years I kind of pinpointed what works for me, and well, basically I'm here to share that with you. So hopefully you like it. So if you do, just put a like and give us a subscribe. That kind of helps a lot. Thank you. So going back to, we're going to start thinking of the perfect winter day. We're going to start with the easy level, and difficulty is going to get gradually more harder and difficult throughout the whole video. So let's start with a good winter day. Sun is shining, high pressure, birds are singing. You even have that wee touch of spring in the air, a little bit of sunlight warming up these little bays. You're like, whoa. This is the time where definitely I'm going to get a glide or a swim bait out. I'm going to start probably not too early in the morning, because even if it's a nice day, the bigger fish are going to take time to warm up and start moving. Pike are like a cold water body, cold water blood creatures. They start moving once their bodies start to warm up a little bit. So that's why usually I found that early in the morning you get the little feckers that are all happy and full of boost and going around chasing your lures, and only the big females usually are a little bit lazy. They start a little bit later. So but I would start definitely with glide, probably not something floating or just under the surface. I'm going to get something that is definitely slow sinking. I'm not going to try to get the pike to rise up and come super, super high from the depth. Now, any kind of walk like this in winter, it's crucial to start your groundwork in the morning with a fish finder. Get an idea where the fish are, where are they sitting. That'll give you an idea if you're going to have to fish a bay, a drop off, or right in the big hole where everybody still hasn't moved and you still have that big bowl of bait and nothing anywhere else on the lake. So do your homework quickly in the morning, get a few run with the boat, just to give you that first general idea. But then, like we said, easy difficulty. Now we start. Nice day, fish are moving up the drop. They're kind of happy, going to catch a little bit of glare of that sunshine, a little bit of heat of that sunshine does them well. So I'm going to start with basically a slow sinking glide. Now, this is not the time of the year, I think, for smaller glides. As good as they are, I'm going to try to select to get a big fish. This is time, I have all time in the summer to go on the fly, have fun, or light lure fishing and catch small fish and have that kind of fun. This is time where I'm really, really concentrating just to get maybe one fish a day, but I want a big lump. That's what I want for the day. So it's make or break type of fishing for me at this time of the year. So it's going to be big glides. So you have the choice of either way using your summer glides, the one that are like low float, very slow sinking, and using them with added lead strips on them. So you can see on this one, it's all along. I have lead strips, each one at 3 grams. So that gives you enough on some lures to start to get them down a little bit faster. So really good fan of the tungsten or lead strips like this. Or you can go for something that sinks naturally a little bit heavier, like that clone of a Hinkle trout. Now these ones will be coming on the website probably towards December, January. So keep your eye on that. There'll be many different colors. These are like huge glides, big, chunky lure. And these are great because you can walk them super slowly. Especially when you start your cast and you get the maximum amount of line. This is where a glide is going to work its best. It's going to really, really glide from side to side and really, really travel long and slow like this. So you cast your glide, and when you have the maximum amount of line out of your reel, let it sink. Try to find about, again, with your fish finder, where the fish are sitting. Are they stuck on the bottom? But again, easy level. We're starting with the fish up and excited today. So let it sink a little bit. Find the fish. Don't let it sink too much because you don't want to go under the fish. That's a big mistake that many people do, is like fish way too deep when the fish are sitting high. So always start up on the water column and then gradually, with the difficulty hardening, you go down water column till you're to the bottom. Getting back to the upper waters, even if the pike are sitting kind of halfway on that deep hole, they will come up and nail a big glide like that. So I would start with simple crank, like big crank, like I fish high speed reel, so this is like nearly a meter of line every crank. So this is like pushing my glide, really giving him a good kick and turn, and because of the weight and the size, it just travels. Pause, big crank. So this is giving you a lot of disturbance up there above their head, with something that's really moving a lot of water and that's slow. It's not just passing in front of them like this on a continuous motion. Because most lure that you're going to have, even if it's a rubber lure and you fish it light, if you do that pause, that lure is going to start to go down. The glide really is not. It's just maybe start to go slowly like that down, and you bring it back. A bit like a jerkbait, but a lot better than a jerkbait. Then you have the choice after if you need to go a little bit more low because they don't want to commit and kind of go up and get that lure. Get something that's a little bit with a faster sink rate. So you can go, this is where it's great to do your own lures. This is one that I've made. That's a kind of a medium sinking lure. A little bit more weight inside. These are the resin one. These ones would be on the website as well. I've worked. Yeah, I'm plugging the website, but this is why I'm doing these videos too. Like so, sorry, but yeah, I've tested these big fiber tails, and they have so much movement on the paws that I don't even cut them. I have some cut like that, but they're fairly easy to give a haircut. So usually what I'm going to do, I'm going to ship them to you like this, and if you want to cut them, you can. If you don't want, you leave them. So I'm going to give you the choice of maximum length, and then it's up to you. You want a short tail. You think it's stupid to have the big long one, you can cut it, or you can cut the V inside. That'll be up to you. But those ones will be coming early next year. Be ready for spring season. So just perfect time. Okay, so this is the easy time. Okay, everybody's happy, birds are singing, and the pike are coming up to get your glide or your swim bait. This is a good day. This is the day that we all want in winter time. Now we have another type of day. Pressure is dropping. Fish are not that excited, or they don't want to commit to get a bite up on the water column. They're sitting that thermocline. They don't want to move, but they're happy to take the bait if you present it at the right depth. So to me, this is when you're going to bring in the big rubber lures. You're talking paddle tail, wiggle tail, big rubbers. Okay, so time to get your pig shads and the likes out, because this is the time that they really like that type of bait. You can walk that slowly. On the paws, they have always a wiggle with the tail. Even if they come and give it a test, the soft texture usually doesn't put them off. If they don't get hit by the hooks, if they don't feel the hooks, they will come back and follow that lure and take it again. So this is the good time for soft rubbers. Now, my choice of soft rubbers, I would go with two types. We have the big long wiggle tail. This is what I mean about big long curly tail, wiggle tail. And then we got the paddle tail, which is the difference. So this would be the two types that I would be fishing for these conditions. Now, when I switch from a paddle tail to a wiggle tail, usually if I have a bit of a chop on the lake, nice wind, a nice chop on the lake, a little bit of noise coming into the water, a bit of disturbance, this is when I would go for the paddle tail. And on the market you have many different types of the paddle tail. If you look, the more flat they are, the more disturbance they're going to create, and the more incline and sorry, I'm going to show you. Yeah, sometimes they molded like this, and sometimes they molded really flat like that. I think Savage Gear do the slick shad like this, where the tail is really back up like that. So these ones will just flutter and won't move as much. Good thing with this one is that they create the movement of the tail, which transmit as well with a big belly roll. So this is the time that I would be fishing these lures. Now, going down to the degree of difficulty, the first one I would start would be the weighted one, because they are the one that you want to keep cranking, basically to keep at the same height, because if you stop cranking them, they will sink straight away. So these are some musky innovations. I can't remember the name of that, but they had really good success on it. They don't have a harness on it, which I kind of like. Has drawback that your lure is going to get mold, but they are very easy to fix. So yeah, these are quite a few years of abuse. This is one type of paddle tail that I like. Other type as well is another musky innovation that I really like as well. It's these ones. But then any big paddle tail, a pig shad will do. You get the drift of the ones, the one that are weighted, that will go down quite fast. You're going to have to count them down. You have to get used to know how fast it sinks and count them down to the depth that you want, and you walk them. My advice always is to count all the way down to the bottom. So if it takes 20 seconds to get to the bottom, you can start at 10 seconds next cast, and then 11, and then 12 seconds, and then 8 seconds. You get me? Just to walk the different levels of water. One thing that I like on this lure, be curly, especially curly tail, is to try to push that treble back as much as possible, because sometimes they like to come and nip at that lure. They're not too sure, a bit curious, not that hungry, or maybe they're hungry but they don't want to chase. So I like to keep, because sometimes they will take it just when you slow down or at the pause, and that's when your hook, because when you pull the lure, the hook is going to automatically go back like this, but as soon as you pause, the weight of the lure make it to go down like this. So if the pike comes and grab the tail, you have no lures anywhere around here, because the lure is down here. You need the pike to come and grab it side on to get a bite. So I like to just put these magnets, and that gives you a nice straight away. You can clip them, they don't move, and that'll give you a little bit more room towards the tail for the pike, even if he comes on the tail, to get hooked here. If it doesn't commit for the head, usually that's where this is the kill shot. If they're hungry and aggressive, usually they come and usually try to get the head, so it's easy for them to turn it around and engulf it. So that's these ones. Another type of lure that had really good success is the big Magnum Bulldog. Now again, do not confuse copycat bulldog, because there's a lot of them on the market, and they do not swim like these guys. Simple as. Okay, you can get fake ones, and I think that's what happened here in Ireland. The bulldogs were really popular at the beginning, and then they got so popular that companies started copying bulldogs, and we started to get flooded with crappy bulldogs, really shitty fake one, and the swim wasn't the same, and then there was so many people using them, and they just didn't catch as much as the original one. So everybody thought, oh, the pike are getting used to the bulldog, and it quickly disappeared from Irish waters. But I still use mine with like really good degree of success. I mean, this one is absolutely, it's been taking me pike up to 30 pounds, and I absolutely love it. My favorite color, this is like the rotten cucumber. And as well, if you want to go down the route of the bulldogs, make sure you go for the new ones, the one with the soft harness inside. I hate any lures, any rubbers with a big single over the top. That gives too much chance for a pike to twist the lure and get loose. So I like the one with no hooks on top. Get hooked by that treble, and then you can't get off, like, you know. So there you go. That's another one that I use for cast and retrieve. Works well as well on a troll, but trolling is for another day. So okay, that was medium difficulty. Now we're going to start to crank up the difficulty, and we're going to go down. Pikes are sitting close to the bottom. They don't want to eat. They're just lazy. Weather is crap. Low pressure. It's cold. They just don't feel like chasing. This is the time that people on the dead bait will start to get fish, and you with the lure, your catch rate is going to start to just drop down very rapidly. So what to do at that time? Well, that time for me, it's the time to get the wedge tails. Wedge tails, I done a video on wedge tails. I put the link up here. You can click on that and have a look at it. But basically, wedge tails, they kind of suffer a little bit in Europe. They're not used as much as what they are used on the other side of the pond, in America, for example, for bass. And for the simple reason that the action in the tail is so minute that anglers, and again, this is what dictates how lures are popular as well, is what the angler fancy. And the main comment I get when I said I use wedge tail, people tell me, oh, that has no action. I bought one and I reel it in and it doesn't move, like hardly any action. Well, a normal fish doesn't have that much action as well. If you look at a roach, he doesn't go like crazy like this, like, you know. So this is what mimics most naturally the movement of the fish, of a fish. You can look at some underwater videos of that, and you will see that the wedge tail is pretty cool. But the way I use a wedge tail is I basically drag them on the bottom of the lake. So that's simple. Let them sink till they hit the bottom of the lake, and like we said, pikes are sitting on the lake, guys are catching by putting dead baits like on the deck, not even popped up. They're getting all their catch rate with like hard on the deck dead baits, and this is the time to drag this. And I mean, when dragging it, I'm not fishing it, I am really literally dragging it. It's the most boring type of fishing. Get some headphones, listen to a podcast when you do that, because you could get really bored after two casts, or even one cast. People get really bored after one cast with this type of lure, but they pay off. They pay off. So many times I drag that on the bottom and pike just come and look at it and swallow it, and you get like a really good thump. It's an exciting way of fishing. Now you have two types that I would recommend. The line through, really nice ones. But sometimes I like to kind of customize my lure. Again, you see it in the videos up there, how I customize it. So these ones are not the line through. They're the one you buy with a loose body. So I just put a nice big screw ring at the front, a couple of swivels, one big treble on the top. And for magic, what do I do? Yes, I insert a metal tubing with some sponge, and I add a little bit of attractant. Why not? All the guys fishing with dead bait at this time of the year, they look like junkies on the water. They all have their needles and they're all pumping themselves and the lures and yeah, it just looks like a bad hood with all the needles. So yeah, all I do is I have that in the video as well, how I customize this, and I inject them. I will do a video on flies and lures with scent like that, because I believe if you drag it so slowly on the water, the pike is not coming like full speed to come and grab it. It's not like in the summertime. It's gonna come and inspect that base, like what's going on. And this thing dragging on the bottom, and that tail, every time that tail hits a rock or something, falls over, and you have that little movement, it really looks like a dying fish on the bottom like that. You're dragging it and it's like, blah. Pike comes, a little bit of scent, kind of helps to bring on that bite. So, and lastly, if this doesn't work, I go back again to the Tokyo rig. Like I said, previous video, there's a link there for the Tokyo rig, a technique that nobody uses apart from me here, I think. But hopefully I'm going to start to see some people getting their toes dipped into that Japanese technique. Or is it American? I don't know who invented the Tokyo rig, but has a Japanese name anyway. So I guess it was invented in Tokyo, I don't know. But Tokyo rig, the advantage is that you can fish that like a drop shot. It is like basically a drop shot, but really close to the bottom. And you just use, I usually use something like a fluke bait, a long fluke bait, something that has like a really long and narrow thing, something that can look like an eel as well. Or like we were talking with the bait that have a very, instead of a very hard 90 degrees angle, you get some that are very like this, more straight. These ones have a nice little flutter as well. So this on the big barbless hook, you can fish that on the bottom and never get caught on any branches or anything. It really flies over everything, and you can just leave it on stationary. Just by twitching that rod, you're going to make that lure move and flutter, and you can just make it jump a little bit, half a meter, stop, and just flutter it. It's slow, it's boring, but it's winter fishing, okay? If you want exciting fishing, go on holiday somewhere warm, or just wait for March or April when they start warming up. But this is where we are. So easy glide baits, not so easy rubber baits, and really hard rubbers and Tokyo rigs on the bottom. All right, that's my view on deep water fishing for the winter. So hope you enjoyed that talk. It was a bit longer than usual, but I mean, it's a big subject, and I'm only really here scratching the surface, because I could go through each technique and I could spend at least another half an hour video. So if you enjoy that, and if you want to hear something different, or you have techniques that you want to hear something, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I catch you in the next one. Thanks. Goodbye.